Hello and welcome to Technically Speaking, where scientists and engineers come together to chat about a common interest, share knowledge, and satisfy some curiosity. I'm Ellie, and this week I'm joined by Emma to talk about tool use in the animal world. So this was my idea. It was largely due to a cow named Vera, who I fell in love with due to an article that I helped with at work. But there are many fun examples of this, and we'll definitely get into it, including Vera. She's a babe. Emma, I know I sort of shoehorned you into this, but you're interested too, she says, hopefully.
Yes. No, I mean, I heard of tool use in animals basically exclusively through knowing about Jane Goodall. So I feel like my knowledge initially was quite limited, and so I've never heard of Vera the cow. I'm very excited to hear everything about her because I mean, she's not. Whenever you name an animal, Dolly the sheep, Vera the cow, something good's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know where it's gonna go. So yeah, my motivation was more Jane Goodall oriented, the late great Jane Goodall, because I think she's obviously amazing and an inspiration. So that's kind of how I got introduced to it. But yeah, looking forward to talking about it more in a nice chat.
To diving in, yes. So I think, as always, we like to start with a little definition, get everybody on the right page. So then we have, of course, what is tool use? Because it's easy to say, and it's easy to maybe think of examples, but actually, I think zoology thinks of it quite strictly as the use of an object to achieve a goal. So this could be using a rock to break open a nut. This could be using a twig to build yourself a nest. It could be using something for grooming. You have to be using object A to achieve goal B, I think, is what most people would say.
Mm-hmm. Which is quite different to what I think us humans you think of for tools is spanners. That's what I first thought. Tools, spanners.
Yeah, I
hammers.
hate to break it to you. This is not like a load of monkeys in the woods DIY workshop changing car tires. Can you imagine?
That would be funny though.
I wonder if they could. I wonder if you gave a monkey a wrench and like something to wrench, whether that would actually work.
Well, I think that is something that could come up later.
Oh, I'm jumping ahead. I'm too soon. No, but it's really interesting. So I mentioned like birds making nests, moving something from place to place, but I have a really fun one. Mason bees.
Okay.
Little tiny bees. You can find them in the UK and Dorset and other places. They lay their eggs, the females, in empty snail shells, which is cute in the first place. But then they go out and they find loads of dead grass and they pick it up in their little bee feet and they fly it back to their egg, little snail shell nest, and then they cover the eggs in all these tiny little dead grass pieces.
No way.
It's so cute. I mean, I have picked a lot of these examples based on the cuteness factor.
I feel like it's also impressive weight-wise. Like, I don't know what I imagine bees can carry, but carrying some hay or some dried whatever is quite impressive. So that's for like making nests, I guess, as well. It's like a nest equivalent.
Yeah, I guess it's similar to like the bird thing. Yeah, there's a David Attenborough clip of them doing it, and it's like unbelievable because they're so tiny, and then obviously their snail shells are really tiny, and then they've got a little piece of grass. It's just adorable, and also they like use more than 100, so it's like really.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I don't know how in the David Attenborough documentaries they actually managed to find video footage of these very, I think, transient things, but
yeah.
It's quite impressive. But
it was
tell
really
me more about Vera the cow. She's on the top of my mind.
Okay. Hi, pod people. Editing Ellie here from the future. I got it stuck in my head that her name was Vera, and I was wrong. Her name is Veronika, so I would like to formally apologise to Veronika the cow. And now that you all know her name is Veronika, you can Google her appropriately. I don't know why I said Vera, but we all make mistakes. She is the best one. So Vera is a beautiful Swiss brown cow, and she lives in Austria with her farmer owner, and she's just the best. There's a video of her using a broom. So I don't know if this happened by accident, but basically she took the farmer's broom and picked it up in her mouth with her tongue, and then used the bristly end to scratch her booty. She's so cool. And then even more impressive, she uses the other end of the broom, the like sticky bit, to also scratch like different parts of herself, like her belly or her legs.
And she can tell the difference on the size of the broom, I'm guessing.
Yeah. She's like directionally choosing what side she wants at any given moment.
Wow. I feel like I constantly need to look up like a picture of Vera the cow and it being a broomstick.
Oh my
Like
gosh, you do.
I need
If this
to
was
see.
we need to go visual, I think, for this. Everybody
Yeah,
Google
yeah.
Vera the cow, because she's just beautiful. And also it's very fairy tale. Like, her owner makes strudel, he's a baker. It's in this beautiful Austrian village. Like, it's just gorgeous, the whole thing.
Wow. It's very, very cool.
But it's also now, so Vera is the first cow to have confirmed tool use in cows as a species. She's the first one in the papers. The science is all backed by Vera.
She's a smart cow setting the bar for cows everywhere. I mean, it does make you think, though, what, I don't know, to pick up an item and then scratch yourself with it. What else could they pick up? I don't know. I feel like it's crazy to think of the thought process of an animal choosing to do that, because animals like cats, for example, scratch themselves with their own body because they can reach.
Yeah.
But I feel like cows don't have that experience of actually scratching themselves.
I think there's a big sort of, not deficit, but like it's more impressive when you don't have hands or like paws.
Mm-hmm.
Because she couldn't physically pick up anything with her legs, because that's just not how cows are built. So she's only got her mouth and her tongue to like grab stuff.
Yeah. But I feel like a cat, for example, you sometimes you get cats that can have, surgeries or accidents where they could lose like their limbs. And so there's videos of cats having like ghost movements where they're like, they have their leg amputated.
Oh my God.
And they're moving their leg because they're wanting to scratch themselves, but they've not got the leg to do it. So they're obviously feeling that they're not getting scratched. But I feel like in that scenario, I would expect a cat to pick something up to scratch because it's aware of the absence of the scratch. So I think what for me feels impressive is putting, A and B together. Like, loads of cows will have seen brooms everywhere. But what is the motivation to actually picking up the broomstick? I think is the really like smart thing. I don't know, few people don't think cows are smart, but
this is what there's a quote from one of the researchers that says Veronika is some kind of bovine Einstein because she is kept differently to other cows. So maybe it's also like a product of her environment, because she's not in a big dairy herd, she's just living her best life in Austria.
Oh, is that what they mean by she's kept? Like she's just like kept as a pet, like she's not kept.
I think so. I think
the different environment. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she's just her own. She's by herself. I think she doesn't have any cow friends. Well, if she does, they're not doing it too, so they're not as impressive as Veronika. But yeah, she's not like in a big like herd like you would see in the UK. But she's so beautiful. I feel like really proud of her for no reason. Oh yes, it does say she is a family pet. She's not for like milk or beef.
So. I mean, maybe she's observed someone picking up a broom and then taking it from there. I don't know. I'm really intrigued with the how.
With the how she made the leap.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be intelligence, that she was just itchy. She's like, what can I do about this itch? I know, there's a conveniently looking stick. I'll use that, and then I can sort myself out. I mean, she looks also smug in a lot of the photos. You should definitely Google this if you're listening, because she's just holding it and like reaching different parts of her body. There's also a quote that says, because Veronika is a cow at the end of the day and she has no hands. So there you go.
These pictures are amazing.
Yeah. But I think it's really cool because you'd think, okay, maybe tool use in the wild makes sense because there's, I don't know, more stuff lying about or like more problems to solve. Veronica probably doesn't have a huge amount of like strife, right? Like she's not struggling to find food or necessarily struggling to find shelter. So this is like a need that she has that's not like, if she couldn't scratch herself, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but she's still like managed to solve that problem.
Yeah, I also feel like it's quite impressive considering with like birds getting twigs for nests. That's like inherently already in nature. I mean, I guess Vera would have grown up with a broom around her, but it's
like they're
not something
exposed to
that
it every day.
Yeah. And even like I think when we were preparing for this episode, just hearing that, loads of different animals use tools, and one of the main tools they use is literally like using a sharp rock to crack open something like a nut or a seed. And that is I had no idea that was even like technically considered a tool use.
Oh yeah.
Because it feels a bit more not involved. That's not the right word. But like it feels a bit more like a step back from, but I guess it is using something sharp to break open something.
Yeah. I think maybe you gotta take a step back because it's just like I said at the start, using something to achieve a goal. So if your goal is to scratch an itch, then you need the broom. If your goal is to eat a nut, then you need a big rock to break that nut. So yeah, but big props to Vera because to be the first cow in 2026 to be credited with tool use, I think is good going.
How was this year?
Yeah. That's why
wow.
I had to do a podcast on it because we love her so much. And I didn't know of her existence before January. But now I'm a Vera stan.
Okay. Wow. I mean, maybe cows are getting smarter.
That's true.
Maybe we'll see loads of cows start to use tools.
I hope so. I mean, there's also the thing that like cows probably have done this in the past, but no one's been there to write the paper about it. So like, perhaps we're giving Vera slightly too much credit. But if she's going to be the poster girl for cows using tools, then I think they picked a good one.
In a bit.
Okay, cool. So this is also a bit like the bee one in that it's a David Attenborough show about the fish, and I think it's a tusk fish, and it was in the first episode of Blue Planet 2, and I was blown away by this because I don't know really in the grand scheme of things anything about fish, and tusk fish have got they've got tusks, like they've literally got teeth, and they look quite fearsome when you see them, but the good thing about these teeth is that it gives them a method of holding on to stuff. So they go about the ocean and they can like pick up debris or like shells or whatever, and then through doing that they unearth like little clams, and then so they pick up the clam, they swim with it all the way back to their like coral bowl. So like imagine like quite a big like bowl shaped coral, and then this the fish in the documentary has got like a special knobble on the inside of the bowl, and he literally slams this clam into the knobble on the bowl of the coral so that he can break it open to get the delicious clam treat inside.
Wow.
It's super impressive.
Yeah.
I think. And I don't think I ever really believed that fish, like not like the cool fish like sharks and whatever, but like a normal reefy looking, fairly, well, he's not plain, he's pretty impressive, but like a normal fish, you know what I mean, could do stuff like this. Because you think the intelligence required for that and the brain size and everything, mind blowing.
I mean, maybe it's a faux fact. I should probably fact check, but there is the myth/fact that fish lose their memory every like 3 seconds. So how are you remembering to come back?
Are you remembering where your bowl thing is?
You're just hoping for the best. So I mean, maybe it's more of a muscle. I don't know. Maybe it's more physiological than. It's not an active thought. It's literally like
I think
I don't
that
know.
the whole goldfish having a shit memory thing is a lie, is a myth.
Oh, was that okay?
I don't know where that came from, but no, they actually
Yeah.
apparently have quite good memories. So
Never mind.
never
Never mind.
mind.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean, still very impressive to find your way through an ocean.
yes,
No terrible sense of
navigation.
direction. So that's also impressive.
Yeah,
Maybe they're very intelligent animals. I mean, all animals, I guess, are intelligent, but I feel like humans wouldn't fare so well on an ocean floor with no navigation to find their way back.
how's your navigation like day to day? Are
Oh, it's
you
awful.
Google Maps for everything?
I'm actually the worst person for directions ever. Like, I will walk into one place, and then as I'm walking out, I will walk out in the wrong direction. And people will be like, "Do you not remember coming in?" I'll go, "No, like, I
This
don't have it."
this happens to me all the time. If it's like a high street and I turn left into the bookshop and then I come out, I can't remember if I turn
Yep.
left or right into the bookshop, and then I have to think
Yep.
about it, really cast my mind back.
Yeah. And I've actively asked people before, how do you have such a good sense of direction? Like, I was like, how can I, train myself up? And they were like, you just have it or you don't. So I guess he's fish habit, and I just don't. I mean, I've really tried. I really don't. I've got the maps out. I think I can point to north now based on the map and where I am in theory, but I'm very bad at it. So I personally find it very impressive that these fish can find their way back. But I guess also a lot of animals, I always think of like sheeps on like farms that always go up hills, and they always must be coming back at some point. And I guess that's
I
also
think
a
they,
sheepdog's job.
yeah,
But
they're gathered up, aren't they? I don't
yeah,
think they're necessarily like just wandering back at the end of the day. Well, maybe they
yeah.
are, but if they go very far, I think that someone has to go and get them. That was also, I think, that species was the first one. So we're going back to which was only 2011. We discovered that fish was doing that.
I was gonna say, I guess that does take us back to Jane Goodall, which is arguably the first instance of tool use in animals.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's like what I know her for is that she was one of the first people / the first person to actually observe animals using tools. And I think that was in the 70s.
It was earlier, I think. I think it was 60s. But yeah, you are right in that she was the first person to observe chimpanzees using tools in the wild, and therefore any animal, I think, using tools in the wild.
Yeah. So it's a bit of context for people that may not know the legend that is Jane Goodall. So she was studying, so she's like a primatologist and was studying chimpanzees, and also I think throughout her life has also studied a lot of different primates.
Yeah.
But she first observed a chimpanzee bending a twig, stripping off the leaves, and then using it to get termites from their nest. And also she was one of the only people at the time, I think also one of the first people to actually name the chimpanzees that she was working with as well, rather than like in number. She would always name the animals, and I think that actually also changed how people take on different animal studies as well, like the attitude that she had towards it as well. So she's a legend for so many reasons, but she did also observe chimpanzees making these tools, and so actively taking a stick, doing something with it. And in this case, it was to get termites from their nest. But I feel like chimpanzees here have a huge advantage that we have, which is having opposable thumbs.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can really see a lot of incredible stuff happen with chimpanzees.
I think having hands has got to be up there for like being able to manipulate tools. It does just go hand in hand. Pun intended. But yeah, Jane, absolute babe. But yes, to witness that, I think, is like probably one of the defining points of zoology and like animal behavior research in the last 100 years of her life. But yeah, absolutely incredible that she just discovered that, witnessed it, whatever you want to call it, and then that became like led on to so much stuff as well.
Well, I found from the National Geographic, it's basically a list of different animals and different tool uses different tools that they can do. So, for example, I think, which is maybe helpful to listeners who also, like me, the concept of a tool is quite
Vague.
abstract.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what do we mean? So there's a list basically. So you have throw, using something as bait, waving something, blocking something, digging, scratching, pounding, hanging, wiping, dropping, reaching, dragging, to club, to jab, to stab, to symbolize. It's quite a vague one. I'm not sure what that means.
I'm not sure that animals would know what that was, but maybe they would.
But only primates can. And then they have a list of animals that can do these certain tools. Elephants, for example, have been observed draping plants and soil over the carcasses of their dead peers. Oh, that's quite sad.
Maybe that's to symbolize then, because that is sad, isn't it?
That is really sad, and I didn't know that's where that fact was going when I started reading.
Because I was trying to think, why else would they be doing it? There's no, like, that I could immediately see there'd be no reason to cover a dead elephant with twigs.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe that's the symbolic one, because elephants have exceptional emotional intelligence as well as intelligence.
Yeah, and going back to the bees as well with blocking, they basically were blocking the entrance to their eggs. Hive? Eggs is not the right word for bees, or is it? Anyway. The octopuses can also squirt water to move sand to cover up the entrance to their burrows as well, which I also think is quite cool.
Octopuses are just so
also very
fun.
intelligent.
Yeah, they're always flinging rocks at each other, so that's technically that is tool use, I suppose, because they're picking up a rock to achieve the goal of pissing off another octopus.
I also swear for one of the World Cups, I mean, I don't follow football, so I'm completely lost for the date and time, but maybe like 2010 or something, 2015, there was an octopus who was predicting the matches.
Oh, I think that was a thing. I'm again like you.
By opening a box. Which is that's not something they would do in nature, but still there must have been some kind of action teaching the octopus, how to open the box.
Yeah,
and they have the tentacles, which I think you can use them like hands in a sense where they can stick
definitely.
and unstick. Paul the octopus! Oh my god, 2010, 2008 to 2010. See, Paul the Octopus, it's a great name, actually.
Vera the cow, Paul the Octopus, all these icons, I love it. But
yeah.
I think they probably didn't teach him. I think octopuses probably just have figured it out based on how clever they are, that they could just manipulate like a latch or a hook or whatever to get the box open.
What is very fun, I mean, I'm really deep in the Paul the Octopus. He had a success rate of 85.7%.
Oh, predicting. It says he was also psychic as well as a
yeah,
tool.
that is like a different tool.
That's quite high. I feel like, how did he know?
I mean, that'd be higher than random, right?
Yeah, must be. I just had a memory, right? There used to be a catfish at the garden centre when I was a kid, and he was enormous, and he was in this really big tank, but in his catfish tank was a goal and a football, and I swear that he used to put the football in the goal, like a tiny little, like ping pong ball sized one. So maybe Buster the catfish from the garden centre was the first fish using tool use, because that was pre-2011. I can't believe I could have been the Jane Goodall fish tool use at the age of like 7 if I thought about that. If my brother is listening to this, I need you to corroborate whether Buster had a goal and a fish and a football.
Paul the Octopus was 2008.
Wow.
I don't think as a kid I put 2 and 2 together, really. That this was actually as impressive as it actually is. I mean, I feel like it's just, all fun and games. But
I mean, maybe Buster was coincidental, that it was just sort of eventually wafted in the goal's direction.
Yeah. But I do think tool use does make me think a lot, especially with some gorillas as well and some other chimpanzees. I mean, Jane Goodall has a quote, and is referential to what I'm going to say, was she was like, during the first 10 years of the study, I believe that the chimpanzees were, for the most part, rather nicer than human beings. Then suddenly we found that chimpanzees could be brutal. And unlike us, they had a darker side to their nature. And they have been observed to literally sharpen sticks, like sharpen them with their teeth, so to get rid of the bark, sharpen them and use it as almost like a weapon. I don't think against other chimpanzees, but as a weapon against, some form of prey or something.
They definitely,
for me,
have like wars and stuff. There's like a long-term chimp study in like, I want to say like Gabon or somewhere like that, somewhere in like the middle of Africa, where they like literally have two chimp factions that are like actively at war with each other and will like kill each other and stuff.
The Montagues and the Capulets.
Yes. No tragic love story here, just chimp warfare.
Maybe there is.
But it does, I mean, like, sound like the start of Planet of the Apes, doesn't it? This is how we get there.
It makes me think of like cavemen, though, for me, because
interesting,
using these basic tools, and they have basically everything that we had, like the sticks and things to sharpen them on, and they are doing that, and we did that years ago for hunting.
Yeah,
like it's almost impressive that nature's following the same almost exact course. Like there's something must be, I don't know, innate about actually choosing something and having the intelligence to use.
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I think like birds building nests, that's got to be like written in their DNA. There's got to be some driver in a bird to be like, I need that stick, I've got to build a nest, I've got to breed. Like that's got to be built in there. So then when I feel like it's vindictive, like I feel like chimps are so intelligent that they're like, no, I need to make this weapon sharper so I can stab harder. Like that sort of goes more, I guess, emotional or more like intentional of like, no, I'm choosing to do this.
Yeah, like it's not like a need, it's a choice.
Yeah. I mean, a bit like Vera in like we were saying, she doesn't need to scratch herself. She just wants to, and then she's choosing to use the broom in that way. Have we put too much on animals? Have we made them cleverer than they would otherwise be?
I think there's specific cases where we have. Like I think because monkeys are so closely related to us, there's been quite a lot of tests / studies on monkeys' brains.
Yeah.
Like doing a lot of basic like maths challenges, like the classic I don't even know how it's maths, but the string with balls on that you move across.
Oh, like an abacus.
Yes, I think they've done something with that, ordering things of different sizes, different pattern-based tests, memory tasks.
Yeah.
Also teaching them some form of sign language and communication, which is obviously stuff that we have taught. I mean, I think as humans, the reason why we know so much is because we have the ability to pass down communication across generations. And I feel like that can happen on a personal level with like a monkey family. I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I'm sure there is some teaching involved in communication from parent to child in monkeys and other animals. But for example, we can read, history and information from, hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's a communication, that's a benefit that we have where we can communicate. So I feel like we are teaching ourselves, and so I think people have taught monkeys these kinds of things, but I think the lack of communication between monkeys that we know of anyway, I think could be the biggest limiting factor.
Yeah, there's a thing in zoology called culture. So it's sort of a bit like human culture in that, like, if one group of animals learns to do something, so say they learn to use a rock to break a nut, then that will like spread through their population or that group, however many there are, and they will teach each other. And then the next generation of that group will then also do it. But there could be the same species group living 10 miles down the road that will never do that and will then never learn that like one like exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which is quite interesting. There's a good example of orcas. For some reason, orcas decided that they wanted to wear dead salmon on their heads. We don't know why they just started doing this, what the motivation for that was, but they all started doing it, and there was like a bunch of orcas swimming around with dead salmon on the front of their faces. But it was just one population in like one area. They just wanted to be fashionable.
Yeah.
I don't know what passes as fashionable in orca society, but clearly that was an option at one point.
Well, I mean, surely if there's no obvious advantage to having it like physically, or it must be some kind of social thing in some way.
All the hot orcas were doing it, so everyone else joined in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
It's cool. But yeah, it's interesting what you were saying about like apes and chimps and stuff doing like human problems, because there's a lot of like comparisons of being like, oh, children and apes are like similar in intelligence at like the age of 3 or 4 or whatever.
Yeah, well, I did actually. There was a study, an article by Science, and they basically had a puzzle box for a group of kids and then for a group of chimpanzees. And they all kind of had to solve this box. I think they all had one individually.
Right.
And it got to like 53 hours, and the chimpanzees had not all of the chimpanzees had completed the puzzle, basically. But the puzzle had like 3 stages, and I'm not even sure what the puzzle was, but very like simple tasks, basically. But the children had solved it within 2.5 hours. And if you think about capability-wise physically, you know, everyone has literally the same hands, really. And so the same physical capabilities. But their conclusion from it was that they observed that the children were, like you said, like teaching each other how to do it. Like there was more of a community-based aspect, which I'm sure there is a community among chimpanzees, but maybe not always focused on teaching people, or I don't know how the communication works, but I feel like humans have very advanced communication, and I think animals, for example, might not be like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like sarcastic. Like humans could say something that is true but mean an entirely different thing based on tone.
Yes,
and I'm sure animals will have an equivalent of that. But if you think about how much we actually communicate, and even with our facial expressions can communicate so much, maybe that is what is the limiting factor of chimpanzees' ability, is not anything physical or anything mental. It's a community-based learning experience.
Yeah, maybe. Because I think often they find one individual, right? Like the examples I've said are the Vera cow is one individual doing it that we know of. And then that fish, it was the first tool use that we observed in that one specimen at that one time. Doesn't mean there aren't individuals doing that, but it's got to start with like one one individual at the start. Good old Vera.
And also I guess the other people, I shouldn't say people, the animals or beings in the community have to recognize that action and them using that tool is a benefit.
Yeah.
And is going to be something that they want to do. You know, I think there's evidence, for example, like different monkeys like using little sticks to get dirt out of their fingernails, and that is a very personal thing. Like that doesn't affect, you know, the community, the wider community, or any other monkey. Just is a benefit to them. So I feel like other monkeys might see that and try it, and they'd be like, "Oh, this has fixed my problem of doing this," and so they might continue to do it. Whereas I feel like something more abstract, like, I don't know, I'm not, there has definitely been no evidence of this, but, and I'm surprised if you I would be surprised to see what happened if you left a monkey or a chimpanzee with like some knitting needles or something and like some wool. Like, would they be able to do something with that? Probably not, because knitting is hard.
Knitting is very dexterous, but then also
it is, but they have the physical ability to do that. I'm just thinking of like, I was trying to think of something that's like so objectively non-serving to anyone or anything. Like just a hobby
Oh, I see what you mean.
that uses tools, that uses something like that isn't to do with food, isn't to try to block their entrance or safety, or, you know, something that is just
For them. Self-care.
for
and
fun, for fun. Yeah, but like doesn't, like, even like they're getting the dirt out the fingernails, that is a bonus to them. Something that is just for fun.
They give animals paintbrushes quite often in zoos, but maybe that's not the same if it's like a captive environment. But there's no real benefit for an elephant to like put a paintbrush on a canvas. It's just doing it because it wants to.
Oh my god, wait, there is a picture online. I mean, it could be AI at this point, of a monkey holding knitting needles. Not knitting though, just holding them. Just holding them.
I think
There's
the
so many
cognitive
great-
leap would maybe be too much for a monkey to be like, because it's got no concept of like what wool is. Like it would probably figure out that it could pull it and it would be one like big long string. But I don't think then it would be like, would it see the possibilities of what it could do with that? I don't know, maybe it would.
But I think I only know because someone taught me. Like, I think I only know the concept that you can make your own clothes and you can knit because it's been something that, you know, has been around for centuries, and it's always in the cultural zeitgeist, and, you know, you might know someone who knits or see them do it. And so you already are familiar with the action. Whereas I guess they don't have that history. Like, if you just showed a kid who's never seen or heard anything with knitting needles and wool, I think they would probably have a very similar reaction to what the monkeys would have.
Yeah, they wouldn't. You wouldn't innately know what to do with it. You wouldn't be able to. It's like a music. If you gave a toddler, you know, a violin and it had never been exposed to that before, it's not going to immediately figure out what to do with it.
Yeah. It always makes you think of a Planet of the Apes, though. Something like, if we could teach them, and if they could teach themselves. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, maybe we don't want to go down too close to this can of worms of like, what are the limits? You know, if we could teach monkeys to knit, then can we teach monkeys to handle automatic weapons like they do in the film?
Yeah,
proper
or
warfare.
like I think if they could communicate across generations and across different communities,
we'd be in real trouble.
I think we would be in trouble. And that's what they can do in Planet of the Apes. They can talk to each other.
Which then you can
Like, they have-
organise, right? Like, as soon as you can tell someone, stand over there, you know, hold this,
Yeah.
don't let them come past. Like,
Yeah.
if you can communicate that as an order, then I think then we would be in trouble, because all the monkeys and the apes and the chimps and everything would rise up. We'd be back to the beginning. That's such a good movie. I might have to watch that again.
The original one or any of the remakes?
Oh, I think the original. But I do think some of the
Yeah.
remakes have some, like, they're not too bad.
The original was good.
Oh, well, that feels like quite a good place to leave it. I don't even know really how we ended up here, but let's try and think. So we started with what is tool use. We went on to the absolute babe that is Vera the cow. We did a swing round bees on broomsticks. We went to fish using knobbly bits of coral to open clams. We took a brief trip down memory lane to think about Jane Goodall. And then, we thought about our influence. Have we given monkeys more tools, more sort of social structure than they're used to? But if we can teach them sign language, maybe they can teach themselves to communicate, and then we'll all be in trouble. But thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode.
The views expressed in this podcast belong entirely to the person that said them. They do not represent any industry or organisation. If you enjoyed listening to these views, it would really help us out if you could rate us, leave a review and tell a friend. This podcast was sponsored by no one, but if you're interested in funding us to continue to have frank discussions about science and engineering, please get in touch.